Schulim, Krimper, and Peter McManus are innovative, NAM-based designers with exceptional skill in crafting primarily native timber furniture. Their custom pieces are predominantly tailored for specific client needs and are designed and built to an especially high standard with great attention to detail. Their exemplary artisanship and design processes result in high-cost works. This essay explores Krimper's life and compares the identities, inspirations, and works of both designers, specifically regarding the Modernist design movement. Personal, environmental, and professional context for both designers will be outlined with biographical insight provided. Discussion of Krimper's work will contextualize the terms modernism, modernity, and modernization. Additionally, Krimper's and McManus's choice of materials, technologies, design principles, and elements will be examined. Analysis of McManus intends to highlight his relationship to modernist design principles and any evidence of influence or inspiration drawn from Krimper and modernism. Schulim Krimper was born in Seret Bukovina in 1893 and orphaned at the age of 9. Once 12 years old, Krimper began an apprenticeship with the village's furniture maker. Following his 4-year apprenticeship, he searched for work across the capital cities of Europe, establishing Berlin residency in the early 1920s. While in Germany, Krimper drew inspiration from Biedermeier designs and the Deutsche Werkstätten. The Werkstätten advocated the provision of functional, long-lasting furniture of timeless design, a philosophy clearly visible throughout Krimper's work. In January 1938, Schulim Krimper and Elsbeth Leipziger married. The following November they fled Berlin due to the rise of the National Socialists and associated spurs of anti-Semitic and fascist sentiment. The couple immigrated to Australia in 1939, where Krimper established a workshop on High Street St Kilda and built his reputation as a master of craft furniture. The first exhibition dedicated to Krimper's furniture was curated by his friend Robert Haynes and hosted in the gallery of George Limited in April 1951. Haynes was assistant director of the National Gallery of Victoria from 1947 to 1951, and this connection assisted Krimper in becoming the first contemporary cabinet maker to have furniture displayed at the National Gallery of Victoria. Krimper's early exhibitions demonstrate a shift in sentiment, furniture becoming considered an art form. Public attitudes across post-war Australia reflected values of the good design movement, which favoured anti-historic, affordable, and mass-producible designs. Krimper's work demonstrates many, but not all facets of the good design movement. Krimper's work as a designer demonstrates aspects of modernism, modernity, and modernization. In this context, modernism refers to the international design movement throughout the 20th century. His furniture demonstrates many foundations intrinsic to modernism, such as simple geometric lines and shapes, timeless qualities, lack of overt historic reference or decoration, and transparent truth to materials. Modernity is a system that shapes the lived experience of an individual or society and is typically associated with a shift toward innovative thinking. Krimper's work reflects modernity through his desire to develop high-quality, living furniture, rich in character and function. Modernization, in the context of 20th century design, is a process advocating for innovation, especially regarding new technologies, perspectives, and materials. Krimper's work reflects elements of modernization, for instance, his use of timber machinery, highly skilled woodworking, and joinery techniques. Conversely, his craft was established through traditional European methods and perspectives. Despite this, his design ethos and mastery of timber exemplifies innovative material transformation, while his discontent with mass production reflects rebuke toward other aspects of modernization. Krimper designed and crafted primarily timber furniture, with an affinity toward native Australian hardwoods, including blackbean, jarrah, and Australian oak. His subtle, infrequent use of high-quality hardware, such as brass and copper, highlights his remarkable artisanship and chosen timber. Krimper coated his work with oil and wax to gracefully accentuate the natural form and grain of each wood, rejecting stains and varnish which obscure these unique features. Krimper's furniture emphasizes transparency and thus reflects material truth, a fundamental modernist design principle. Traditional timber joinery techniques are another core design element Krimper established to avoid using the less elegant hardware. With no haste to adopt the newly developed industrial plastics and metals, which many modernist designers embraced, Krimper instead refined his woodworking skills to levels of mastery, consequently pioneering industry standards. His proficient design and sculpture of timber uniquely demonstrates material innovation, another central pillar of modernist design. In addition to material truth and material innovation, Krimper exemplified a host of principles and elements synonymous with Australian and international modern design. His prevalent use of plain and often simple lines is an example of such. Similarly, although influenced by the Bademir and Werkstätten movements, Krimper's timeless designs are modernist as they provide no overt reference to past, present or future, with little if any ornamentation. Krimper's use of sturdy, high-quality wood highlights his consideration of functionality before form, yet another fundamental modern design philosophy. Generalizing the ideals of modernist design can be reductive and thus problematic, as the movement took shape over decades, evolving from cumulative efforts and often distinct perspectives. Component movements such as the Stil, the Bauhaus, French Purism, as well as Soviet constructivism and suprematism significantly contributed to the development of modernism. In reference to these changing ideals, social morality is one of many philosophic elements congruent throughout modernist design history, as well as Krimper's work. Synonymous with modernist design, social morality fosters connection, especially in modern metropolitan communities. With the exponential acceleration of occupational and inter- and intrapersonal alienation, modernist design developed political qualities, aspiring to promote social morality and improve the conditions of the population consuming it. Krimper crafted superbly functional and aesthetically beautiful furniture for communities across Melbourne from the early 1940s until his death in August 1971. Refugees represented most of his clientele. Having fled persecution and war, his clients likely experienced new forms of prejudice, discrimination, and subsequent estrangement from Australian settler culture. As a Jewish refugee, Krimper and his high-quality furniture undoubtedly held unique sentimental and emotional value to each customer, thus contributing in some capacity to their comfort and connection to community, home, and self. By promoting the social morality of his clients and their communities, Krimper exemplifies this tenet of modernism. Peter McManus grew up in Australia, his parents having emigrated from rural Ireland in 1968. Hailing from a family of carpenters and stonemasons, McManus was introduced to carpentry by his father and older brother. Working as a carpenter on commercial and residential sites, he later taught TAFE across Melbourne, and in 2011 established Reclaimed Timber Furniture, now known as Yard Furniture. Today, Yard Furniture operates from Preston, designing and building custom furniture with repurposed timber sourced from a range of industrial sites due for demolition. Like Krimper, many modernist design principles are present throughout McManus's design process and work. Modernist design principles include simple geometric lines, material truth, a lack of excessive decoration, ornamentation, or historic reference, and form following function. Like Krimper, McManus crafts high-quality custom furniture from native timbers and seems to have been influenced by modernist design. McManus's process of acquiring materials is distinct, as he crafts furniture from repurposed timber sourced from local industrial sites. Similar to Krimper, McManus appreciates and highlights natural grains and qualities unique to the timber he adopts, rejecting finishes like varnish which masquerade desired textures. Akin to Krimper, McManus's work reflects the modernist design principle, material truth. McManus's furniture assumes typical modernist design elements and features simple, geometric shapes, lines, incorporating minimal, if any, ornamentation, and developing innovative forms after ensuring proficient functionality. Yard Furniture's use of locally salvaged timber reduces their ecological footprint by mitigating the impacts of resource harvesting, transportation, and waste. This environmental awareness promotes ecological and social well-being, thus reflecting the modernist ideal of social morality. social morality being entrenched within McManus's design process and business ethos. Schulim, Krimper, and Peter McManus have both crafted high-quality timber furniture influenced by modernist design values and processes. Despite different backgrounds, both have contributed significantly to furniture design through innovative and socially conscious work. Founded on innovation, material truth, and social morality, their custom furniture and legacies have promoted industry standards and the well-being of communities across Melbourne. Both designers' processes are underpinned by dignified and considered ethos, which contribute to their work's grandeur and exceptionality. Using native timbers, both designers have embraced a unique culture of woodworking. Rather than conforming to European aesthetic standards, they have proudly adopted native timbers and thus contributed to a shift in the image and identity of settler Australian furniture.